We're talking about chocolate chunk scones, and here to show us how to make them is Michael Cachadurian, author of Baking Naturally. Michael, nice to have you here. Chocolate chunk scones.
Yes, chocolate chunk scones. I don't think too many people think of scones as a dessert item, but what I want to show people is how easy they are to make. So if you're sort of sitting on your couch watching TV, maybe Downton Abbey even, and you want to sort of go with that British theme, a scone is a great go-to dessert.
All right, perfect. So how do we get started making a scone?
Well, what I like to do is have the ingredients laid out because it's just that much easier to work with. So we're going to have some flour, 3 cups of flour. This is 1.5 sticks of butter cut into about 1/4 inch size cubes. It's important that it's cold. Again, something that's good for this because you don't have to wait for the butter to melt, get the room temperature, so you can just go right to it. We have some cinnamon, Vietnamese cinnamon. It's a little bit sweeter than traditional cinnamon. We have baking powder and, of course, pink Himalayan sea salt that I use. I'm very strict about that. We have an egg, we have our milk, and vanilla, pure vanilla extract.
I think it's fun to have it all laid out like this at home because you kind of feel like you're doing a little TV segment,
That's right,
you know?
exactly.
You feel like you're doing a cooking show.
That's
so
right.
you have it all set up.
Yep.
Now, you also have some chocolate chunks.
Some chocolate, yes, this is the star of the scone. Now, if you don't, I use bar chocolate. This is an organic chocolate. If you don't have this in your pantry, don't worry about it. Just go to your chocolate chips and use that. But when you can use this, it's a very high quality, high cocoa content, and it makes all the difference in the world. So I just wanted to show you, you're just going to take the bar, take your knife. Very easy to do.
Per pound, that might be a little bit cheaper too. If you're going to start buying chocolate more in bulk,
Yes,
you go for the bars.
That's exactly right. And I think that's an important thing. Any of these ingredients, they're all organic, by the way. When you do make your own desserts, it ends up being less expensive than buying them already made. So it's just something to keep in mind.
You know everything you're putting into it, so when you're doing it naturally, it's not all the junk that may be in the pre-boxed stuff.
That's right, exactly.
And I'm even okay with it when a recipe calls for 2 sticks of butter. If I'm making it myself, I'm like, oh, you know, I'm making it myself, it's healthy.
You know what's going into it. You know it's not an oil or a fake sort of synthetic product. The great thing about this recipe, too, is it's kind of a one bowl deal. So you're not really doing too much work to get this completed. So you're going to take the 3 cups of flour and throw it right in your mixer if you have this type of mixer. If you don't, you can use your hands essentially and make this recipe.
Yeah, those are always, you always have those. So
always have your hands.
Those, yeah.
The best tools.
Take your butter, throw it all in to the flour.
Cold butter.
Cold butter.
Now, is this one of those pastries where you want the butter to be a little flaky?
Correct. Yeah, it's cold. It will result in a flaky product.
Oh, okay. There we go.
That's right. You're going to take your cinnamon, throw it in. We have 1/2 cup of sugar. Now, the difference between a scone and a muffin, perhaps, if you will, a muffin is much sweeter than a scone. And I think in the United States, we've over-sweetened our scones so much that if you go to a chain coffee shop and you order a scone, it's almost like getting a muffin. This is not what this is going to be. This is going to be much less sweet than that. So we're only going to do 1/2 cup of sugar.
So if you wanted that coffee shop scone, you dump a little extra sugar in there?
Pretty much.
Yeah, but why?
And you can. It won't ruin the recipe. Just add whatever you want in terms of sugar
if you
want
like
it to add. Sweet. Exactly. And we're going to do about 3/4 teaspoon of salt, the pink salt.
Okay, now you like the pink salt. Does that really bring out the flavor more so?
It's more about, this is totally unrefined. This is hand mined, and it has no, it's been protected from pollutants for millions of years. Wow. And it has about 86 minerals in it that you don't find in traditional table salt. And it doesn't really affect blood pressure. So if you do have a high blood pressure issue, you should be okay having this type of salt.
And it's pretty. It's pink.
Yes.
That was a heck of a pitch, and then with Ashley's pink kicker, Himalayan pink sea salt might just be the way to go.
Yeah, absolutely. So what I'm going to do is, okay, so put this into your mixer, throw this down, and then what I do is I take my kitchen towel and throw it over the top here because when I start this, usually the flour pours out. So I want to get this going before, and get it incorporated before the flour goes all over the place.
Unless you like it in your hair.
Unless you like it all over the place. In the meantime, while this is going, we're going to get the wet ingredients together. So this is 1/2 and 1/2, and we're going to use a cup of this. This is a wet measure.
Okay.
And what does that mean, a wet measure?
Well, it measures in ounces versus liquid ounces versus this, which is a dry measure.
Oh,
so this is a slight variation in the volume.
Okay.
1 egg. And just throw that right into your cream.
Okay.
And then we're going to do vanilla.
Don't you love those stand mixers? They're just doing it all for you.
Pretty much.
It's all happening right now as we're talking.
There we go.
great.
And a teaspoon of vanilla.
It's quieter than I thought it would be.
You can add more vanilla if you want.
Oh, yeah, I like vanilla.
I love vanilla, so you certainly can add more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good thing.
And now we mix the wet into the dry?
Exactly. So you want to break the egg up inside the cream here. So just with this. Now, what I do at this point is I'll add this liquid very slowly because it depends on the flour, it depends on the moisture in the air, how wet you want the dough. You don't want the dough so wet that it's like a cookie dough, but you don't want it too dry where it's not going to come together.
Gotcha.
So you may not use this entire cup, but you might.
Okay.
So once you see that the mixture looks like granules.
It's sand-esque.
It's sand, yes. Is that a word?
I don't know.
Okay.
Sand-esque.
That's it.
We like to make up words here.
I like it. Okay, so with the mixer on low, you want to slowly add your cream mixture. And I think you can see this is pretty easy.
Yeah. Now, from start to finish, you're sitting on your couch, you're saying, I'm going to make some scones.
Feels like a scone day.
How long until they're ready?
The first time you make it, it might be 35 minutes, but once you have the recipe down, I'm talking 30 minutes at the max.
Wow.
Including baking time, because they only cook for about 15 minutes.
Sweet.
As you can see, the dough is pretty much where I want it to be.
Oh, that was quick. Okay.
So I didn't use the entire cup.
When do the chocolate chunks come in?
Those going right now.
Okay. When do we put the chocolate?
Yeah, that's the most important question of the day.
So this is 8 ounces of semi-sweet organic chocolate.
Okay.
And I like these little flakes. They add a little bit of.
That's the best part. Well, my favorite part would be licking the cutting board.
The cutting board.
But I won't.
All right.
For everybody at home who's watching.
And then essentially just put this back down.
For the best.
Take your towel again. Throw it over the top because the chocolate will go everywhere.
Okay.
Okay. So
and then hold this down while it
just
mixes.
for the sake of time, it's mixing. Then you basically will take once it's done mixing it all together, you take the dough and put it on your cookie sheet, which you've lined with parchment paper.
So this is pretty much done. I'll show you real quickly if we have time.
Sure.
Okay.
Now, parchment paper beats aluminum foil, right?
Yes, I like it better because it's sort of keeping it away from aluminum. Aluminum has some. I'm no expert, but there is some indication that aluminum is not healthy for us to ingest. Huh. So. You could take a rolling pin and roll this out. Why bother? If I don't have to dirty something, I don't.
I was going to say, one extra thing to have to clean.
So you can see what this looks like, right? It's just not a cookie dough. It's not too dry. Just push it out.
Okay, so we're going to fast forward, Michael. You're pushing it out now. Then you will separate it, put it onto the cookie sheet. Seth is going to get the finished product in the oven. Now, once you separate it all up and put it on the cookie sheet, how long do you cook it for? You said 15 minutes, right?
15 minutes. You're gonna preheat your oven to 425.
Okay.
And important, don't put these in until the oven is preheated. Because the bottoms of these will, in fact, burn if you don't wait for the oven to preheat.
So be patient, wait till it's 425, then you put them in. And here we have
the completed product. Now, feel free to do whatever you want in terms of shape. You could use a biscuit cutter if you want something a little bit more refined looking. I just go for it and
I like rustic.
Make it look rustic. In the size, honestly, yes, we want a uniform size, but if you have some smaller pieces, it's not a big deal. They're all going to cook pretty much.
I think I need some tea for my scones.
I think you're right. I think you're right for the Downton Abbey fans too.
Thank you so much, Michael. What a great recipe.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
Try it.
Thank you very much.
Everybody at home can try it. I might try it tonight when I go home. If you want to get this recipe, you go mymassappeal.com.